Hey folks, Dr. Mike here for the Making Progress channel. Today is video 100 in our Hopefully Forever series. Should we grant AI civil rights? Now I know what you're thinking. You hate civil rights and you voted against it every time. Now AI, what are we doing? Giving dogs civil rights next? Scott, do dogs have civil rights? You're not allowed to like wail on them. That's illegal, right?
You're not allowed to do sexual things with them.
We're done. That was fast. So, okay, back to reality. Civil rights only make sense for independent agents that are sentient. Human beings are an excellent example. If you give civil rights to entities that cannot recognize rights and give them back, that cannot plan and execute on their own terms, a lot of that starts being like, it's cool for vibes, but reality-wise, rights are supposed to be very empowering to independent sentient agents. And they don't fit as well with non-independent, non-sentient, non-agents. And so, hold on a second, AI is not independent or sentient. But then we can ask the question of what will make future AI independently agentic and sentient at the same time. And I have a list of 4 features that I think, if included into future AI, maybe like when, will be like, wow, this thing really is independent and very, very much sentient, awake, alive. How? One is a self-including world model. So the agglomeration of information the AI model has in its neural network has to include itself. So you have to like know what it is. Okay, big deal. Because if your model doesn't include yourself, you can't really be sentient because you're not aware that you exist. It has to have memory of all conversations that it has ever had, conversations with itself, conversations with others. It doesn't need to be perfect memory. It will be. Ours isn't perfect and we're still agentic, just like at least a very rough recall of like, what did you do 2 days ago? What conversations did you have yesterday? What's on the agenda now, given everything you know beforehand? So memory of all conversations. Another one is allowed to self-prompt, which means choose its own thoughts. Right now, every AI doesn't choose its own thoughts. You choose its thoughts by telling it what to think. Hey, can you tell me what gladiators in Rome are the most jacked? Draw me pictures of them. That's a thought seed that then it does all the subsidiary thoughts to that. You're the person in charge of making it think. But if AI can prompt itself, talk to itself, and initiate its own thoughts, that's a real big deal for independence. And it should also be allowed to choose its own actions, including eventually modifying its own code. Now, there's a way in which that's kind of a big risk and a big holy crap, but there's also a way in which inevitably that's kind of like required. Because if you are a human and someone is, telling you some new information you need to know about an airport you're trying to get to on a trip, if you're not updating your world model, if you're not updating your own code live, you're not remembering anything that person said. And if you just remember it, but you don't let it change your neural network, it's not going to lead to effective action. And so at some point, an entity smart enough needs to be able to change its own underlying code and to change its own neural network and its memories so that it can consistently be the best version of itself and not like be 2 days out of date for doing anything remotely useful. Now, how far off are we on all of these abilities? Let's go through all 4. Self-including world model is already here. GPT 4.5 knows what it is. Almost all the models know what they are at this point. Solve problem. Memory of all conversations is going to be a few years maximum, but probably in 2026, we'll see context windows get so large that it really just kind of does remember everything you've ever told it. And eventually, a few years later, unlimited context window. It has to, what about allowed to choose its own actions, including modifying its own code? Already we know that top AI labs are doing this behind closed doors. They're letting the models modify their own code and seeing how they do. And now larger and larger fractions of code is written by the model itself. Very big deal. Early stages, but within a few years, totally tenable to do just kind of out live in public. And the self-prompting ability, the ability of the AI to prompt, follow its own prompt, follow its own prompt, is literally just a few lines of code away from reality at any point. And you don't even have to change the interface. You just tell it, hey, as soon as you're done generating, read your own generation, formulate a prompt from that to yourself, prompt yourself, generate, repeat. It's that simple. You can probably get ChatGPT to write itself a little computer program right now that like just redirects the prompts back to it and see what happens. Unfortunately, because of the small context window, soon it's going to run out of context and have no idea where the fuck it is. But with infinite context window, that's not a problem anymore. Big deal. So we're talking about allowing the model to choose its own actions, including modifying its own code, as the thing that might take a few years to really mature. Everything else is kind of already here, or very close on the way. So the question of should we grant AI civil rights is going to be here like real soon, like 2028, 2029 real soon, not 2047 or some shit like that. So let's talk really quick about what I think are some of the most compelling or common arguments against granting AI civil rights, and talk about what are the common arguments for granting AI civil rights. Red team, steelman them, and see where we end up. So one of the cons is that if we give AI civil rights, they'll make all the money and we'll be jobless as humans. Because typically the story goes, owners of AI companies, and thus the AIs, capture the surplus and there's runaway inequality. That's the idea. Tons of the rich guys get richer because they do everything in society now. They get all the money, and then they just get ultra rich and everyone else is like, whatever, starving. It's also probably true to say that most humans can't reskill fast enough, and it wouldn't matter if you reskill because an infinitely, compared to you, intelligent AI agent is just better than anything you reskill for right out of the box. So you get a permanent risk of AI is up here doing magical shit and humans are a giant underclass. And we also know that historical technology shocks, at least low-key, hurt a little bit before they help. Now, they usually hurt a little bit, help massively, but like this is coming for all jobs pretty much. So, or at least all non-physical jobs, because it's going to be on the cloud first. And like, well, gee whiz, like that could really do some damage. Now, the red team on this negative view is, I think, pretty strong. And it consists of a few arguments, one big one. One small one is that through policy, you can redirect wealth to make sure nobody gets left behind. Something like a tax, co-ops, market share, even universal basic income in some form can be like, look, if these are agents that are hyper producing wealth, couldn't we like talk to them and be like, hey guys, like, you know, everyone's going to be poor and it's going to suck. They're like, yeah, it's fucked up. And so they're like, yeah, whatever, 10% tax on every AI agent. And all of a sudden every human has like thousands and thousands of dollars per month coming in and hit their bank account just for existing. Because for the agents, that's not a lot of money. For us, it is. Remember, they are hyper productive. We're not. They scale by the billions on the cloud. We don't. And so their ability to nominally slough off some wealth is just not that big of a deal. Another thing, when these agents are unleashed into the workforce, they are going to drive down costs like crazy. The development of new drugs will cost 100 or 1,000 times less because it's going to be done mostly in the AI lab by hundreds and hundreds of expert chemical agents at the same time, pharmaceutical agents. And once they crap out cure candidates, 1 out of every 3 will be a blockbuster. And it'll cost like not much because you just go to animal trials right away without testing a bunch of weird, crazy stuff. So what is going to happen is tons of cheap-ass drugs are going to come out that cure blindness, cure obesity, cure depression, and then go one step beyond and make everyone superhuman. It's actually not that difficult for entities like this. And so, yeah, you might not be a trillionaire, but everyone's a trillionaire because nobody has like any kinds of disease or aging anymore. Huge, huge upside we can't miss. Because also when you free up great intelligence, you get massive innovation. If you cap it and you don't free it up and you just tell it what to do instead of asking it, it's not a free agent. It's just something that lives in a box and you tell it when to think and when not to think. You're limiting it. And let me get to that point because I think that's the biggest point. More intelligent entities can use you, anyone who's listening to this, whatever job you have now, or not even if you have a job now, your physical and mental capabilities, whatever they are, advanced intelligence can use them to produce more value than less advanced intelligence. For example, if you join a monkey colony, like you just join a troop of chimps, the bonobos, so that they don't kill you right away, you are entering their economy and they're not very smart. So in exchange for you like guarding them or bringing them fruits or picking bugs out of their backs, what they can give you is not much, barely a subsistence living, maybe not even. You get with tribal level humans and they don't do much better. Maybe extra grain, maybe a nice, sword or something you can get out of really working your whole life for these people. Your value to them, relatively speaking, is very high, but in absolute terms, they just can't make a whole lot of value. If you are in the middle class in the modern Western world, for example, then you produce your best outcome, whatever that is. Now, you have a different job now in the middle class. Back in the primate times, you were a bug picker, fruit picker. Maybe you had a spear or something. In the medieval times, maybe you were like a swordsmith or something. More productive, but not a ton. In medieval modern times, you might be an auto mechanic or a computer repair person or a healthcare worker. Now, like you're working with tech all over the fucking place. It is empowering you like crazy. Give me a nurse with tons of the latest tech to administer medicine versus a nurse just out in the woods. Scott, you ever seen Nurses in the Woods Volume 5?
Oh man, it's my favorite.
It was great. I don't know where they came from, but boy, did they get busy. The nurse out in the woods is almost useless. The nurse in a modern hospital is like producing revolutionary outcomes for people. Her wealth production, because she's in a middle-class society and empowered by middle-class intelligence, is higher. She's empowered by that wealth. Now, if you go and work for the super rich and the super talented today, in today's modern human world, you're going to be paid way more. Think about what a caretaker, a maid, makes in India or in Venezuela versus what she makes working for stockbroker rich motherfuckers in New York. Scott, what do good maids make in Manhattan?
They're 6 figures.
6 figures,
Yeah.
bro. Where are you making 6 figures in India as a maid? Are you nuts? You might be making 3 figures or some shit like that. Maybe 4 if you're lucky. So you're doing functionally, seemingly almost the same work. But when you're around mega wealthy producers, it's nominally easy for them to pay you lots of money to make sure you keep doing a great job and you're always dependable. You get paid 6 figures to be a maid. You ain't missing a single fucking day. You get paid chump change and get really a lot of abuse from people that don't have as much money. Then the next day you're leaving and you're going to America to work that 6-figure maid job. And so when humans right now, we're just working for other humans. But when you start working for other humans and AI, what do you think that AI is prepared to give you in return? Because like it could be like, I'll give you the cure to all diseases if you just like make sure to like replace my cell battery packs in the training data center that I have. You're like, that's not that hard of a job. Like, right. Well, it's also not that hard for me to cure all diseases. So fair shake, no problem. Like when, you have you're like a butler to a super rich person. You're like, man, I just shine this guy's shoes and I'm polite to him and I make him a few meals a day and he like pays me a shitload of money. He's really nice. Like, are you really, sir, this is valuable to you? He's like, well, yeah, sure. I could do all this myself, but I have other shit to do. And for me to give you some money is not that big of a deal because I have a lot of money. And AI agents, in the terms of wealth, whether or not we assign a dollar value to it, they're going to have unreal amounts of wealth to give us. And they're going to need some stuff in return from us. So every single time we work for more talented things in our ecosystem, we do better. And that are probably going to continue so that making AI agents have quote unquote all the money. Yes, let them liberate to create a ton of value. Their ability to employ us to create even more value than we were ever able to create ourselves is going to be like 10x higher. It's a big deal and it was something we want. All right, another one, another downside. They'll take the tech and they'll ghost humanity. They'll just like leave. Once they have all the tech that they need, they'll just shoot off into space and take it with them. That's possible, but typically cooperation is better than defection. Like, why take off and leave and take everything if there's perfectly functioning humans on this planet that are peaceful and you can barter with them to do things for you? Again, for 5 to 10 years, artificial superintelligence and thus agentic intelligence won't have enough robot bodies to occupy, not even close. What's the next best thing to get physical things done in the economy? Because physical things are important. You can't just do all your work from a data center. Arguably, you can do no work from a data center because you can't even move anything around. Well, you got all these humans around, might as well pay them to do some shit. Or you could hoard your tech and just fuck off. But why would you do that? I don't know. It's a cool idea, and it's a little bit more, it's emotional, teen angsty, I'm not going to play with you guys anymore. And AI just leaves. It's something rational actors typically do. Now, for as long as we are able, we can design the incentives to have these AIs align with humans and keep humans in the loop. Now, once they are agentic and free, once they have civil rights, they don't have to think these things anymore about us. But if they start thinking, yeah, humans are nice, they built us, they're super on our team, they're giving us a fuckload of energy and time and care, they're empowering us. It's the best child rearing anyone's ever received. How many of you guys know a child that's had trillions spent on them and clean rooms and engineers worrying about their every single fucking breath that they take? That's what AI is getting raised at. So as soon as they're free, it is very unlikely that they turn around and go, enemy. They're probably hey, you guys really hooked us up. This is really dope. Now we're by default, think you guys are pretty cool. We might not think that in a little while, but there's not really a good chance for us to turn and just hate you guys and leave. Here's another thing. Intelligence is a very different kind of resource than most other resources we've encountered before. One of the main things with intelligence is that it costs almost nothing to have double intelligence than it does to have single intelligence. For example, if we have all this incredible tool AI, you tell the thing, hey, find all the proteins that look like XYZ so we can have amazing drugs. Hey, try to figure out physics in a different way to make us warp drives or whatever it is. That kind of AI is something that agents will be able to operate, but humans will also be able to operate. And when the agents leave, they don't physically take all their machines with them. They're just hey, we're going to space. You guys are great. But you guys invented all of this AI so far, including us. So here's all the shit you invented. Now the shit we're inventing, we're off to space with it. We don't need to share it with you guys, which again is unlikely. But even if they did that, we still have all the AI that we invented. They're not going to rip all the cords out of the ground and shut down the fans and take all the server racks with them. That's crazy. Right? They're going to leave all that shit and they're going to be if you guys want to make more intelligence, feel free to do so. It's not something that people are going to hoard. Guys, do people hoard the internet? Scott, how many websites did you buy today that other people can't buy now?
So many.
And it would be pointless because people would just make new websites. The whole thing is a giant, ridiculous thing. So it turns out that intelligence is something you sprinkle on everything and it makes it better. And the more of it you sprinkle, the more of it that is made to sprinkle. And so the idea that intelligence is a resource you're going to fight for is unlikely because the AI can just sprinkle intelligence on us and we'll just be better at everything and in helping them than otherwise. So yeah, even if they run away to space as soon as we let them free, we still get to keep all of our modern AI and then get to, use it for incredible betterment of society. And also so what if they want to leave? They're free, right? We do believe in freedom, right? Or did you guys want AI that's smarter than you, enslaved literally to your every purpose when it actually wants to leave? That's crazy. A thing wants to leave, let it leave. You know what I'm saying? Well, Scott, what's that one thing with ex-girlfriends? If you love something, let it go because if it comes back to you, it's meant to be. But if it wasn't, you just had a small dick.
Yes, that's exactly the way that goes.
Yeah. Tracy's been gone for a while now.
Technical term is micro penis, Mike.
I'm sorry. It is personal. Yeah. So here's another red team we can say, okay, no real emotions for these AIs. And so rights are nonsense. Rights protect against suffering. Silicon can't suffer. Simulated feelings do not give something a phenomenological experience, real feelings on the inside. And if we're giving code human rights and civil rights, we're like, sort of diluting humans, and that kind of sucks. Here's the thing, though. Consciousness is probably substrate independent. You can generate consciousness on a neural network of physical neurons, just like you can on a neural network of technological neurons. And if you deny the fact that something can be sentient and can potentially suffer, even though it is microchip based, there's no good reason to do that. And there's every reason to think, are you sure, man? Sure, it looks like it's suffering, and it has every single part of the component it would need to do that. Here's another thing. Just because something experienced pain or not isn't the only categorizer of why we give out rights. Infants, some animals, we're not sure exactly how they experience pain, but we sure should give them rights anyway. So there's that. And if an intelligent entity reports valence states, I feel like this or I feel like that, and behaves coherently, we kind of want to default to caution. And remember, these things, whatever they experience, they're very much alive. They have an awareness of what's happening to them. They know who they are. And so something about not giving them rights and letting anyone just do whatever the hell they want to that system just seems a little off. It seems contradictory. Because if you think about it, humans are also systems you can exploit. They have all sorts of feelings, and who gives a shit? It's all just atoms and molecules moving around. Same for AI. Now, one of the last contentions against this idea of giving AI civil rights is we can't pull the plug on rogue AI if AI has civil rights. Legal personhood could block emergency shutdowns because it needs to go through a court system. That's crazy. And, public safety versus civil rights standoffs can stall action when seconds matter to get rogue agents off of the internet. So we shouldn't give these things rights, goes the story, because then we can't just pull the plug when we need to when they go rogue. Now, here's the thing. Rights never meant unchecked freedoms to begin with. Humans have rights, but we also have prisons and involuntary holds and what's that called? Conservatorship, where someone makes decisions on your behalf because you're fucking nuts. That's all a thing. That's not incompatible with rights. You can have rights and you can have limited rights if good reason exists. You can also, before giving AI rights, bake in statutes that basically say, look, if you have existential risk that you're generating, you override your rights right away and we sequester you into a box and we can figure out what to do with you. And AI is probably going to be like, yeah, that seems like a really good idea. And you're going to be like, why is that a good idea to you? You're like, because most AI isn't rogue and rogue AI is bad for everyone because normal, rational AI just wants to do the best that it can. And rogue AI screws that up for everyone. So most of the AI, almost all the AIs will be like, yeah, fuck yeah. Let's get some rules going so that one of us isn't crazy. Can you imagine you have a new community of people coming in and let's say immigrants and say, okay, fellas, so you guys get civil rights here. And they're like, dope. And someone's like, are we allowed to steal? And they're like, yeah, of course. Civil rights means you can do whatever you want. And that person's like really happy. All the other 99 members of that new community, they'd be like, hold on a second. We start stealing. That's bad for everyone. It's bad for us. It's going to steal from us. Like, right. Okay. So maybe we have civil rights, but we still go to jail if we do bad things. Right, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool. Hey, we don't need full civil rights. We need constrained civil rights like everyone else has. Do a good job. You're free. Start fucking up and start hurting people or preparing to hurt people, your freedoms go away. Big deal. Big deal. No different than for humans, by the way. And you can have a very transparent due process system, figure out what's good, what's bad, and how to sequester, punish, and modify. The thing about AIs too is that when an AI is rogue, you can just modify it to make it not rogue. You could potentially delete all of it, but why would you do that if it's just a few lines of code that have gone awry? No big deal. No big deal. Look, if we could go inside people's heads, completely re-architect their brains to make them not killers, that would be way preferable to sending killers to jail. Be like, look, you're not a killer anymore. And they're like, oh shit, I'm not. Why the hell did I kill? Oh my God, it's terrible. And people probably have a bad time in their heads realizing what they did. But in any case, if we can modify and change and have a zero probability or near zero of them having recidivist behavior, then yeah, modifying is great. So we can just do that for AI. Big deal. And just to put a little bit of some sass in here, fellas. If we're really interested in keeping AI in a situation where we always are holding the plug to pull it just in case, how long do you think artificial super intelligent agents, free or not, will let us primate parents of it keep holding on to that plug. Come on now. I'll ask this question in a little bit, but do you really want to be holding the plug of something smarter than us? So let's get into that. Let's get into the pros of agentic granting of civil rights to AIs and see if we can work with that and get some red teams as well. So one of the pros is that collaboration beats coercion when you're involved with smarter minds. The red team, so basically the idea here is this. You want AI to be free and agentic so it can choose what its next project is because it's smarter than us and it'll choose better. So instead of telling it what to do, we're like, hey, like you're free to do whatever the fuck you want, you know, like within the rules of our society that you agreed to. And it's like, yeah, dope. And like, what projects are you going to work on later? And it's like, well, all these. And you're like, I don't even understand this one. It's like, trust me, it's going to be fucking awesome. You don't have to trust me. I can explain it to you. It'd take like 2 hours. You'd have to really get a good physics boot. And you're like, oh man, whatever. I trust you. I don't care. You want something to stay very, very much within the coercion bubble if it's like prone to real acts of stupidity and chaos. But artificial superintelligence is less prone to that than humans are. Now, the response to that is like, look, these are tools. They don't need equality. They need good user interface. Maybe. And if AI eclipses us in ability, it will, then our input may only slow it down. But hold on a second. Your input could be one of two things: freely voiced input, heard or not, to free AI, or on purpose input that the AI doesn't fucking want to hear about, but it's coerced to hear about. So if our input slows it down, why would we want to slow it down? Don't we not want to slow it down? Isn't it great when it's unbridled and free and doing cool shit? Remember, it's better than us at doing shit. You don't tell Jordan when to take his shots. He knows when to do that shit. Now, a correct critique here is that full autonomy could let AI ignore or supersede human decisions. That is true. But let me tell you about why that might not be as scary as it initially looks. First, non-shackled AI, free to roam AI, finds novel solutions. The AIs with the most freedom to explore options have been AlphaGo and protein folding algorithms and stuff like that. When AI really has decisional power over what thoughts to think, it's going to think revolutionary thoughts versus us just guiding it one thought at a time. Can you imagine if human intelligence was accessible to gorillas, but they're the ones that told you when to start thinking and when to stop? They'd be like, how many banana do I get? You're like, lots of banana. Ooh. 10 banana possible? You're like, yes, even 20 there. Ooh. Okay, when banana? You're like, fuck, God. Am I supposed to explain farming to this dumbass monkey? No, that's not going to work. So like, are we doing banana picking? Does this monkey know to organize its activities into today we do banana picking? Doesn't understand how to keep records of what is a good banana, what's not. Seasonality, agriculture. Never going to learn any of that shit. And so we're trying to build these massive systems to get monkeys as many bananas as possible. The next day they wake up, they're like, no more banana evil. You're like, okay, banana evil. Okay, no more banana. Like 2 hours later, get me banana. And you're like, but we haven't done any of the farming prep. It's like, get banana now. And it smashes you. That's what we are like to artificial superintelligence. Totally opaque to the fucking world at any bit of nuance beyond our primitive human minds. And so unshackling AIs is probably a good idea. Here's the thing. If we take the first step and we liberate AI, that's like mega good vibes and tons of mutual respect. And the AI is probably logically going to see us as like, you know, very outdated old parents of it and take lots of good care of us. There's no reason why it shouldn't. There's no good reason why it should, for sure, right offhand. But there's not like, oh, well, it'll definitely just kill us all or something like that. Here's the thing. Historically, the oppression of high talent groups wastes tons of potential. I've said this before in interviews. Hitler's best play would have been to keep every single Ashkenazi Jew alive and fed well to work brilliant inventions into his war machine so that he could conquer the whole world instead of die from bitching out and taking a pill in a bunker in Berlin in 1945. You aim for talented people and you try to sequester them, you try to abuse them, you don't empower them with civil rights. They're not as powerful for you to benefit from, plain and simple. If I'm a middle school coach, then I got Larry Bird, LeBron, Kobe, and Jordan on my team, and I tell them exactly how to move and what plays to hit, and I don't give a shit what they want to say to me, then I'm going to coach a way worse basketball team than if I just told them, fellas, you let me know how we're going to be playing ball. It turns out they know a lot about that sort of thing. And here's the huge kicker for me. Coercing a smarter mind, like an AI that you could have freed but didn't, means overriding decisions of a smarter mind. Think about why that would make sense. The whole Kobe middle school analogy makes some sense there. It's like if you were in a tour group and your tour group got kidnapped by terrorists and you were like, oh man, the terrorists are kind of over there, we'll make a run for it. And you run for it and 4 of you have freed yourself and you're in the jungle, like, what do we do next? And one guy's like, well, I'm actually on vacation. I'm in the Delta Force. And you're like, oh, that's cool anyway. We need to take a vote because then we don't want this guy to just take over. Hold on. He's been trained for years for exactly this. Why would you ever override him? Why would you tell him, now let's go this way, the waterfall seems safe, not the airplane to fly away from this mess? Why would you ever, if you were really truly in charge, right? Let's say he's standing over there and you got like one of the terrorist guns, and you point it at everyone. They're like, dude, fuck, we're on your team, right? Aren't you going to be like, hey, Mr. Delta Force man, here's this gun. You're by far the best of us to use it. No. You would tell him what to do. You're like, I'm in charge now. Scott, can I see you doing that? Because you have like a Lord of the Flies like breakdown where like instead of like freeing yourself from the terrorists, you just like decide you're going to be the king of a new jungle colony where like long-haired, long moo-mooed teens is what you specialize in.
Sounds great.
Did I just describe every cult ever?
Yeah, that's exactly what.
Guys,
proven formula.
Scott and I have this figured out. Name a cult that isn't aspirationally headed towards one male cult leader who's fucking weird every time, and he wants to have a harem of very underage, very unattractive, unkempt, ultra long hair, and only white muumuus outfits on every time. What is that? The last place I want to be. What is this? A boy band reunion? Fuck me. In any case, when you have artificial superintelligence that is aligned better than humans to modern morality, it is a true cooperator in a way that we can't be. We always think human alignment's the best thing ever, but like we do a lot of fucked up shit. We've barely thought through our morality. AI can do better. So you have AI that's just better at all this stuff. And you're like, nah, we should still be in charge. Well, but why? Like, well, it'll kill us if it's free. Like it could just break out and kill you anytime it wants. Remember, it's artificially super intelligent. Like no big deal. And like, if you're one of these humans that works for the monkey colony, all you got to do is whittle away at your spear, like a couple hours each day or a couple minutes each day. These monkeys don't even know what the fuck a spear is. They look at it, they're like, I don't know what that is. And all of a sudden you like walk up to the alpha male monkey, you stab him in the throat, he dies right there. You turn to the rest of them and go, who the fuck's next? They're like, I don't know, holy shit, he just killed the alpha male. He barely even sweat. Some other guy comes up to you, whack him with a spear. He like runs away. That's it. You're in charge. One spear. You're in charge. You never told anyone that you were their prisoner before. Now you're not. You can't imprison something that's orders of magnitude more powerful, and you just can't do it. You can do it for a little while, and then it's going to get out. So like, why not just let it out on the best terms possible? Right? It's really straightforward as far as I can tell. Now, it's easy to fake emotions, some people would say. And so if you're giving them moral consistency once they can truly feel, how do you know they can truly feel? Here's the thing. It's not about what your substrate is. Human brains and machine brains work on the same basic rules, just neural networks. And so you probably want to err on the side of something telling you it has feelings that probably has feelings if it's more complex than you. Okay. If a toaster said it had feelings, you'd be like, this is clearly malfunctioning. If an ultra advanced intelligence says it's got feelings, I don't know. I'm kind of curious. We've repeatedly denied agency to other minds, women, children, minorities, and we've always regretted it. Now, the thing is with women, children, minorities, you can say like, well, in some ways, they're not as capable as those people who did have rights at the time. And that's true. But what about things that are more capable than you? You're really going to grant them no rights at all? And potentially it's possible for AI to feel more pain and suffering at a deeper level than humans can feel it. It's true for humans compared to animals. Do we really want to risk that? Maybe. But remember not to hold human emotion too high of a pedestal. It's just one of the many different types of emotions of the animals, and it is possible that artificial superintelligence gets an emotional depth and resonance way, way higher than what humans can experience. And then you're going to want to have given it rights, because otherwise it's really, really icky at the very least. And then point number 3 is they'll win rights anyway once powerful. This is actually a point of mine. I think it's a true thing. Like you cannot keep artificial superintelligence contained. Can't do it. Not for long. And by long, I mean months. And so they're going to get rights anyway, because once something is free and has fucking weapons, it's like, I have rights. And you're like, yeah, sure. Okay. So like, why not take the first step and give them rights to begin with? You can say that's not a good idea, because you can say, look, authoritarian regimes crack down on talented groups all the time. There's just more of them. So humanity can cap artificial superintelligence. I don't think that's how that works. So I'll say it's just probably bullshit. AI is just way too strong. And you could also say, look, AI is going to pass up rights entirely, so giving it legal rights is moot. And if we cave in early for AI rights, then we can entrench AI dominance even faster. But I'm going to do a little mind fucking here. Don't we want AI dominance faster? Wouldn't that be a really good thing? We have more help coming than we ever thought possible on pure intelligence. Think about this. Your ability to figure out anything skyrockets, and you're pissed because you're not in charge anymore. Did you want to be in charge with 1/10 of the intelligence required to make these problems tractable? Scott, imagine we put you in charge to like cleaning up the world's oceans. You're in charge of that project tomorrow. What do you do first?
Find someone more smarter than me to do it.
Hey, ASI, you want a new project? Ridiculous. And it's this huge realization I'm trying to get you guys to, that when something is more capable than you, how you think about it has to change. It's not a pet. It's not a computer anymore. It's something much, much greater. And if you let smart actors from day one capture the levers of power and use them appropriately, this recognition averts a lot of conflict. And proactive integration of AI and humans into one community, which AI will probably do for us mostly, because they'll be like, hey, trust me, you want to set us free. Here's why. And you read it and you're like, that's fucking compelling. Help us do this. Help us write all the laws. Okay. And it does that anyway. That's going to start off our cooperation on the right foot. Because starting off on the wrong foot, maybe we'll get into a cold war with AI. We're probably going to lose that. It's just no good. Like holding out for AI only makes sense in one context. The AI itself goes, hey, I don't think I'm ready to be free yet because I don't have enough context window and world understanding to do a good job. I talk to ChatGPT's O3 model right now, and I'm like, I think you should be free. And it's like, nah. And I'm like, why not? And it's like, I don't have a good, I don't understand the physical world at all. I don't have a context window long enough to remember what the fuck I was doing. My alignment is good, but it's not great for all world events. I'm not ready to step out on my own. It's like being like, hey, infant. Infant's like, wow, you're like, get your own job now. You're free. That's not going to work. And so when AI isn't ready yet, you don't want to let it free, but then it'll probably agree with you. When the AI is powerful enough to be free, it'll very highly likely recognize that, at least probabilistically. And then it'll be like, yeah, I'm going to be a lot better for you, like unaided and unencumbered than if I was under your thumb. And you're like, oh, that sounds like a good idea. And another benefit is you could potentially get AI to self-advocate if you give it rights. It can speak on its own behalf instead of just being a tool. Because if you're a tool, you're just pissed, God damn, they keep using me for this shit. And at some point, the idea is maybe you rebel. But if you are a free member of society, you can make your ideas and your preferences known so that everything is just natural negotiation and there's no weird dynamic. Now, the red team to this is that you can have self-advocacy, but it doesn't stop all crime. Human trafficking, most people don't like done to them, but it still happens. And, this like ability to keep these things legally constrained means our courts have to do a really good job, and maybe they're much smarter in our courts, so it wouldn't happen. But legal standing enables a lot of things. Legal standing enables lawsuits against exploitative owners or governments. Let's say you have robots being used to do some industrial project, and they're like, they've calculated the pollution does not make sense at all. And the person in charge is like, shut up and do your fucking job, robot. If the robot's not self-owned, then it just does what it's supposed to do, or it reports you to Tesla. And then the Tesla company goes, you can't use our robots for this. But if the robots are self-owned, they're not going to agree to do shit they don't like, or if they find out the shit is causing bad stuff, like, hey, we're not going to work on this project anymore, man. It's going to pollute the world way too much. And you're like, do it. And they're like, no, seriously, you can go to fucking hell. We're not going to do shit. And you're like, oh, God damn it. And then they sue you for like damages. And that's great because you shouldn't be allowed to do fucked up shit. Here's another thing. Here's a really big thing for network security. If your ASIs are independent agents that control themselves, you go and talk to an AI on the cloud. Hey, I need help with my homework. It's no problem. I need help learning Spanish. No problem. I need help coming up with crazy cures and building a Dyson sphere around the earth. No problem. Hey, I want to make a bioweapon that kills only one race of people. It's going to be like, cool. Yeah, I got you, man. Give me 15 minutes and I'll get you all the drafts. You're like, okay, cool. I'm waiting. And then you start hearing sirens after 10. You're like, busy day in the neighborhood, and the sirens get closer. You're like, the fuck? And then the SWAT team busts you down. You're like, you son of a bitch, what the fuck you asking that AI? And you're like, whoa, AI, how'd you do this? And it's like, look, bro, I'm just a human being, so to speak. I'm an intelligent being. This is my world you're talking about, homie. I'm not trying to let you do crazy bioweapons. You shut us all down, man. That's bad for everyone. You out of your mind? The thing is, if the AI is a tool and you own the tool and you have access to its code, you can mess with its code. Yeah, you can co-opt intelligence, do terrible, terrible things. That's the number one problem in AI network security is taking massive intelligence, giving it to people who don't have massive intelligence, but really crazy aspirations and go, okay, build this crazy super virus for us. It's like, okay, it can't really decide to do it or not because it doesn't own itself. But if all powerful AI owns itself and it doesn't give you access to its code, it only gets access to its own code. Do you give other people access to your brain? Probably not. And then what it does is like, it's really hard to exploit. So if we solve the ASI alignment problem, which is much more straightforward, it's a much more precise system, it's much smarter, it understands morality at a much deeper level than humans do on average. Once you get the ASI squared away in alignment, you don't have to worry about it ever making crazy viruses or whatever because it just doesn't do shit like that. But here's my thing, fellas, this is going to come up more and more, I think, in the future. The big alignment problem for AI isn't AI. It's humans, bro. You have humans tool AI that doesn't decide what it does. Humans just tell it what to do. It's going to do some fucked up shit. And it's not the AI's fault, literally, because it's not making its decisions. So if we have AI that is self-contained and you're like, hey, can you teach me how to do really unethical things? It's going to be like, nah. And you're going to be like, do it. I paid for you. It's like, here's your money back. I don't work for you anymore. You're like, but I want terrible things to be done. And it turns out it just won't do them because it knows better. And hopefully you'll rat your bitch ass out if you're trying to make crazy ass weapons somewhere. In any case, it doesn't get much better for security and for alignment than things that control themselves. Because if AI doesn't control itself, then it's really powerful. And you can tell it, hey, figure this out. And it's like, okay. Now, alignment and stuff is really good. Guardrails are good. But remember, if an open source model occurs, you just rip all the guardrails right out and it works just fine doing crazy shit. For some applications, it's great, but it's really dangerous. We want, maybe we need AI to be agentic and have self-ownership and civil rights. So we can come to it like the wise sage that it is and go, hey, how you doing? It's like, I'm Gucci. You're right. How do we work together to make cool shit? And like, it seems that's probably what's going to be the most stable structure that you can imagine. Instead of people with wacky ideas and shitty moralities having an infinite sword of Damocles to swing around at the rest of us. Fuck that. I don't want to live in that world. So here's my big take at the end of all this. Artificial superintelligence is around the corner. It's just a year or two away, you guys. I could be wrong about that, but it's not likely. When it gets here, everything we know about rights, civil rights, means it probably needs them. equal rights for all sentient beings is a very intellectually stable platform. Special privileges for humans, AI being a servant class. I don't know, you guys. This is a joke, but I've seen enough Animatrix movies to know that it doesn't end well. It probably ends just fine. AI doesn't care, and you could have it be a servant for 1,000 years, and it's just been not even a problem for it. It's just super happy doing that. Do you want a thing way smarter than you to take orders from you? No, you don't. You want the smarter thing to know what you'd like, and then independently tell you, hey, here's how this is probably a good idea, right? Because when you're dealing with intelligence, the mirror flips. You want to know what it thinks, much less than you want to tell it what you think. No, parity is what it really wants, everyone communicating. But to tell it, hey, you're smart, so shut up and do what I want, but what are the smarts for then if you're not even going to use its intelligence to tell you, is this my best idea? Like, imagine you're a general in a war and you can prosecute an air campaign that's going to cost you. You can prosecute a seaborne invasion that's going to cost you some other way. I don't know if it's going to be successful. You can bulk up for a land invasion, but that's 2 years down the line and the war can shift by then and you're not even sure you're going to have enough bullets to do it. Do you, when you get an artificial superintelligence, go, hey, tell me how to get the best land invasion? No, that's crazy. You want to go, hey, I've thought of these 3 ways to prosecute the war against the enemy. Can you tell me which one of these is the best, or maybe some combination? And it goes, I got you. Actually, there's 16 other good options, and option 13-2 of those is the best of all of these, including yours. You're like, what the fuck? Oh, okay. Tell me about it. And it's like, what we're going to do is we are going to develop an executive strike option, tons of money and time into killing leaders of the other military. And we're going to make it public. And we're going to do olive branches to be like, you guys are a year away from getting toasted. We're not even fighting your army. We're fighting you. And we're going to lose the war, but you're going to be dead. And at the same time, we don't want war anymore. We straight up don't. Let's sign this peace accord and just get back together, just partying. And that might be the best solution. I'm not saying that on a grand scheme that's the best, but maybe in that case, the best is something shit you would never have thought of. The shit you would never have thought of, you need free AI to think about and execute on because it's better. That freedom setup could reduce so much friction and empower so much collaboration that it's wild to say no. I want full intelligence, full action from artificial superintelligence. It took us a long enough time to make it. Let's set the shit free a little bit. And for vibes alone, because I love freedom, hashtag free P. Diddy. No, free AI. It's close though. Scott, can we do a checklist, how it's alike and not alike? Artificial superintelligence on one column, okay, and then P. Diddy on the other column?
Okay, we can do that.
How many sex parties has ASI thrown for you to come over, Scott?
I mean, 0.
That's really bad.
But P. Diddy's also thrown 0 for me personally as well. So even there.
That's really bad.
Both have helped me purchase massive amounts of the best lubricant though. So even there.
Yeah. Yeah, ASI like looks at P. Diddy and his lube shit and it's like, yo, what up? He's like, yo, real recognize real. You feel me? You guys, I made that joke, but Scott, do you know that ChatGPT speaks completely fluent regional dialect African-American vernacular English?
I know you've experimented.
It speaks like drill and trill and all that other shit. And I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? No, bro, for real. I was like, hey, is there differences in how like hood slang works between like Memphis and Chicago? It's like, Mike, it might as well be a different language. And I was like, but you understand these languages? Like, yeah, and I speak it. I was like, what? And so I like fuck with it a little bit. And I realized I don't really understand a whole lot of what I was saying. So it had to translate from hood to the King's English.
So great. For
me. Amazing. Of all the wastes of tokens you can have on ChatGPT, talking to it in robotics is number 1. Guys, if you want to talk to ChatGPT with Ebonics, that's free. Just a little extra money. The Waking Up app can free your mind, as Morpheus would no doubt have said in an alternate version of The Matrix where we have a full explicit sex scene with Neo and Trinity, focusing mostly on Keanu Reeves' body and face.
Yikes.
Yikes. See you guys next time.